We went once to, we was at Windermere. We went in a cafe. I think there were 11 or 12 of us. So there was my wife and me and 10 staff. And we went in and we were having breakfast. So we're all ordering breakfast. And my wife's brother says, I don't eat eggs. Can I have an extra sausage instead? And this woman, think about this. This is a cafe in the Lakes that was struggling even then. Fuck knows how bad it, well, it won't be there today. And she looked and she said, I don't do instead obs. What? I don't do it. And we're like, fuck that. And we just walked out. Crazy. Hi everybody, it's Fat Steve.
Hello, it's Fat Sandra, but I'm not fat.
And together, we're Spices Media.
Just a perfect day. Drink sangria in the park. Then later, when it gets dark, we go home. Just a perfect day. Feed animals in the zoo. Then later a movie too, and then home. Oh, it's such a perfect day. I'm glad I spent it with you. Oh, such a perfect day. You just keep me hanging on.
There was another place that used to do the most amazing kebabs. Fresh, beautiful, big chunks of lamb on skewers. They can't be there anymore. They couldn't afford to do what they did. The Chinese near where we lived, Uxton or somewhere around there near, on the way to Charlotte Richard, I think it was. Chinese, we'd go there and we'd sometimes spend £200 or £300, and they looked after us. And it got to where we'd just ring them up and they'd bring it. It was just mad. Everybody got to eat, drink, smoke and fornicate with who they wanted, but they never got two big, tall, blue-eyed blondes going. So you see these things in the movies. With all the money in the world, you can't always get that. So here we are this day. It's probably 3 or 4 a.m. and one of the security wakes me up. Says like, Steve, what's wrong? Laurel's gone out. What do you mean? Well, she was kicking off earlier and she's a bit drunk. She's gone off in a 6.9 Mercedes. Where, I don't know. She just went out and drove off. So it's like, excuse me, them chips are good. I'm sorry, but I've got an SIA badge and I have to, excuse me, it's still coming up a tree. I have to ring them. I said, there's nothing we can do. If you've got to ring the police, you've got to ring the police. So the police come, so they're out looking for her. She'd no license. Pissed. Gone. It gets to the next day. And by then, my son, my daughter, my brother, and the husbands and wives around. There's the police, there's the mental health team, there's the social liaison team, and they're all in her menagerie with this girl sat on a milking stool in the fucking corner. And it got to about 8 or 9 o'clock at night, and this taxi pulled in, and she gets out of a taxi and she's got a carrier bag with some French writing on it. Now, in Saints and Scroungers, I was accused of this, but it wasn't me. And she comes waltzing in and she stands there. She says, "Oh, is there a party that I've missed, love?" I said, "No." I said, "You've gone out and we're all a bit worried." She said, "Like, where's the car?" "Oh, I drove to Blackpool Airport." I said, "You no fucking licence." "Yeah, but I'm okay. I can drive. I'd had a drink. I was fine." "Right. So what did you do?" "Well, I hired a helicopter." "Okay. And I flew to Manchester Airport." "Yes, okay. Everybody stood and looking and staring and listening. And then I hired a Learjet." I'm like, and I flew to Paris. Because I'd sent them some images of some wallpaper I wanted making for the kitchen. Right. How did you get through customs? I had a limo waiting that picked me up and took me. Nobody asked me for a passport or anything. Right. And I've got these 2 rolls of wallpaper for the kitchen. It was never put up. So there's a fucking room full of probably 15, 20 people. And it's like, oh, well, at least she's safe now. Everything will be fine. And they all just went, and then she looked at me, and she looked at the girl in the corner, and they said, "Are you coming upstairs with us?" "Yes." So that was another fantastic night after all that stress of that day. So then we just bugger off to Gleneagles, the Chester Grosvenor spending £120 on a Louis Trace brandy with bottled Coke, and they was a Pepsi franchise, so they'd have to send out for the bottled Coke, and the waiter would come with this little glass bottle of Coke, and I've got £120 Louis Trace, and he'd say, do you mind if I don't pour it, sir? And I'd say, not a problem. And I'd tip this fucking bottle of Coke and guzzle this drink. And I've probably told you before, I took my auntie, who was married to my first wife's father, I took them once and I got a round of drinks, and it was about 600 fucking pound. And they were the days. They were just fucking crazy. Gleneagles, the Chester Grosvenor, Port Miriam, Hotel Port Miriam. Fucking hell, I wanted to get married in that blue room. Ah, God, it absolutely one of the most beautiful places ever in the world. If things work out that have gone wrong this last few months, then that's where I want to get married. In the blue room, a Hotel Port Miriam. One of the most beautiful places I've ever been. A bit hilly. I don't think my wheelchair or my scooter would go up and down that fucking hill, but beautiful hotel. In fact, something I'll tell you that you won't know. These big 5-star hotels, when you go to a hotel with booking.com and you have to pay up front and it has to be on a card and that, when you go to these 5-star hotels, you just roll up and they accept you as you are. And there's no ask for any money up front or anything. You're trusted. You can have meals in the restaurants and drinks and you just pay when you're leaving. Now, I don't know if it's because people that can't afford it don't go, or whether it's just the etiquette of a 5-star hotel. Who knows? I need another fag. So I'm going to try and go all the way through, right up to when we started to build the submarine. The world were crazy. Another night, security woke me up. Steve got a problem. What? She's driven off in the McLaren. Now, the McLaren had a card in my wallet. And it was like, can't think of the word. When I went near the card, it was like biometric, and I could touch the outside of the driver's door, and the car would open, and I could get in, and I could touch, I think it was the gear lever, and it was biometric, so it knew it was me. So anyway, security. She's driven off in the McLaren. She'd nicked my fucking card out my wallet. And he says, I've already had to ring the police. I've rung the police before I've told you. I said, it's okay, that's your job. You've got to look after your licence. And there was only him there, apart from the staff in the cottages and upstairs. He was the only security staff on duty that night. Remember, we did have 6 SIA security staff, 6 nurses, and a fucking doctor lived with us to deal with her mental health and with my physical injuries. £2 a day, something like that, for expenses. And with her, and we can hear this siren. And we stood at the front of this huge house, and we see the blue lights flashing us to get from where they were, which is, I think there's a railway station I pass when I've been to Manchester. I think it's called Buckshaw Village or something like that. That was about a mile away down this road, Daubers Lane, near Chorley. We could see the lights. The motorway was between there and where we were. And this van pulls up and he presses a button and the gates open. And not a van, sorry, a car. No, it was a van. It was a van. And it comes in and he drives up and he's there and the van's rocking a bit. And this was one of the local bobbies that knew us. And he said, "Hi Steve, you alright?" I said, "Yeah." And this band's rocking and somebody's shouting and he says, "I've got something of yours in here." I said, "It's not mine." He said, "It is." I said, "Look, I've only got one guy here with me tonight." And I said, "What's happened?" He says, I said, "Where's the car? Where's my fucking car?" He said, "That'll become apparent in a minute." So there's all this shouting, the band's rocking about, and where's this? And it's like, what the fuck? And then in drives me McLaren. And I said, what? He said, "We found her at the motorway services. She'd gone for some fags." I said, "So you've not impounded it?" No. We've not impounded it. I said, "Why not?" He says, "The sergeant wanted to drive it back." Right. So pulls up, door opens, sergeant gets out. "Hey Steve, you alright?" "Yeah." And then he opened the back of the fucking van door. I'm stood there, policeman, security, back door's open. She does a somersault out the back. She lands on the bonnet of the fucking 350 grand McLaren. She sets off across the roof, does a somersault over the hedge, and she's on the road. She's on Daubers Lane, and everybody was just froze. And she's running off down the road. 10 minutes later, there's the fucking helicopter up. The M6 is closed in both directions. She's running round the M6. This is what it's like to have money, folks. You think it's all fucking roses. It's not quite that simple. It's quite, the world's fucked. So I think it was about 2.5 hours before they caught her, and she'd sobered up a bit, so they brought her back. She still wasn't charged with anything. That's just, excuse me, just the way it was, folks. So, I don't know where we are for time. I'm trying to give you as much as I can, right up to when things started getting a bit difficult. They started asking questions. I had a VAT visit like the first ones I'd had with the people that check out the first claims. I think I had a shop in Whitehaven or Workington or somewhere like that up there, and I was due a VAT visit. And normally it was like a doddering old man or a woman that was like fucking highly educated in the real world, but not educated in fraud. So I had my wife and a friend who I can't mention for legal reasons, obviously, and they came up to I don't know if it was White. I think it was Workington where this shop was. So they're sat in a car close by. I've got a little Nokia 5110 or something, and ready to just text saying the word help. So this was the plan. I had all the books, everything for them to come and inspect. And I'm sat there and I'm waiting for this doddering old man or this woman, probably a frustrated lesbian, to roll up and check the books. And a car pulled up and two guys got out with one had a shaven head, the other one had half a shaven head. They're smoking at the front of the shop, and I'm thinking, who the fuck's this? And they opened the door and they said, Her Majesty's Inland Revenue. And I'm thinking, who the fuck are these? So they suspected something was wrong, and they'd spent two very young, very fit, very wild looking gentlemen. And I'm sat there and I was getting a bit old and senile and I wasn't as quick as I used to be. And they're looking at the books and what's this book and what's that and what are these receipts? And I'm thinking, I'm a bit fucked here. This is a bit over my head. And all I had to do was press a button on the phone and my friends would come and we'd just snot them, fuck them off, throw them out. And we were safe. It was their word against ours. But something happened in my head. I think I realised it was coming to an end. And I just sat it out. And I let them pack everything up and take the books. So when you watch the Saints and Scroungers, they were on our case. It's all bullshit. It was just fucking chance until the end. We'd made so much money we didn't know what to do with it. They caught me, I think, for 4 or 5 frauds. There's suspicion of more companies. But I totally and categorically deny that. Even though I still go and stay and eat at the Pembroke and the Hilton and all the big luxury hotels and travel around town. They got me for what I'd done. And all that's just rumour and speculation. I don't have another £15 million stashed, as people allege. I'm fucked. I'm on my arse. I'm claiming universal credit. So, that's the end of part 2 of the VAT frauds. And part 3 will go to the final bit, where I'm still in this big house at Dover's Lane, but I don't quite have as much money as I had, but I've got enough to build a submarine. So for now it's Fat Steve, Spices Media. I've run out of fucking drink. Keep safe everybody. Stay off that white powder. Stay off that brown shit. And stay off the cannabis. Because it leads to this. This is how you'll end up. So it's Fat Steve, Spices. Oh, what's is that? A walk on the is that a? That's it. Hello, it's a talk on the mild side. Catch you all later, folks. Fat Steve, Spices Media. Hi everybody, it's Fat Steve.
Hello, it's Fat Sandra, but I'm not fat.
And together, we're Spices Media. So bye everybody, Fat Sandra and Fat Steve, Spices Media.